So first of all, thank you for your interest in this pack. And I'd just like to talk you through it quickly. There are obviously quite a few reference images that you've seen at this point, but it's always helpful taking you through a scene, especially if you're going to spend money on it. So what this is essentially is that seven buildings that'll look quite well in a sort of a post-apocalyptic or an old and ruined derelict kind of building setting. They are heavily referenced on Hong Kong's Kowloon area, which is, you can probably pick that up in the visuals. As far as file formats goes, what you're going to see is there's this as a Blender file, and then you will see this as a Max file. Those are the two primary formats that you'll see in this download or upload, with an FBX as a backup to that. So you'll find .blend, .max, and .fbx. As far as scene navigation and organization goes, what you'll see is obviously you can control your camera visibility here. There's a front view, a perspective view, and a top view for every building already set up. And then you can control your lights here, which primarily is the sun. Further to that, on the side here is your building collections. So each building is in a collection already. And that does two things. It organizes the scene quite well, number one, and number two, when you're working in another scene and you want to append a specific building, then you can append by collection. So you don't have to bring everything in, you just bring everything that you want in because it's quite well organized and neat. For the Max users, scene organization is happening here in the layers tab. So every building again has got its own scene or layer set. But then every building is also part of a group. You can obviously group, ungroup if you don't want that. And again, you can merge by group name and building name if you are looking for specific content in a specific scene. The Blender file uses principled shaders. So it's all set up with principled shaders. Principled shader is quite a robust shader. It'll export and import quite well. For the Max scene, we are using V-Ray shaders. Now, this is Max 2015, so it should import quite well into newer versions. And the V-Ray is V-Ray 2.5. So you shouldn't have any issues bringing any of this content in. As far as uploads go, you've got a native blend format, then a Max file format, and then you'll have a specific zip file only containing the textures. So when you unzip that file, right click on it and just click no path names, and that will neatly unzip all your maps into one location and one folder. The Max file is archived. In other words, it means it pulled all the files together or all the maps together into one zip file, also containing the Max file. The Blender file is packed. In other words, textures are embedded into the .blend file. Again, thank you for your interest in this. I can show you a couple of close-ups, things that just some of the scene detail. There are a lot of content like this. Quick scatter elements that are actually quite well detailed and quite nicely detailed, and it'll render quite well. Power boxes, air conditioning content, the washing. There's a whole lot of content, and most of it is quite modular, so it scatters throughout the scene quite well. And there's obviously a lot of just alleyway detail, like doors like this, details like that on a door, roller shutter door, trunking, AC again or aircon, signage, just roof hatch access, then a roof AC or aircon, more of that, cell towers, signage boards. There's a whole stack of detail in here. And just to give you an overview of what happens on street level, I would really love it if you can tell me what you're doing with this pack. It's obviously not required, but it would be very interesting. And please give me some feedback if you've got any recommendations or improvements that you want to suggest, then please do that. I would really love it if I can get some feedback on this pack. And thank you again for your interest.